Good morning. My name is Bobby Filbert. I'm a public information officer with Great Basin Team 2 here on the northeastern zone of the August Complex. Today is October 14th, and we're going to bring you the morning video update for the northeast zone. So today for the entire August Complex, we're sitting at 1,029,110 acres and 77% contained. For the northeast zone, we're at 270,000 acres, 336 acres, and 65% contained. We have just over 4,250 people currently on the entire complex. So now I'm going to bring in our Deputy Operations Section Chief, Britt Davis, who's going to give us a suppression overview for the fire.
Good morning. Okay, starting up over in the west side of the fire in the Little Bear Wallow area, we continue to prep this line for a potential burnout. It's not necessarily going to be a firing activity, but we're getting ready in case we have to. We actually flew this section of the drainage with IR yesterday, and almost no heat in the bottom of that drainage. So the only piece that's really kind of exposed is up here by Irish Mountain, and we're going to be hitting that pretty heavily with aircraft, with heavy helicopters over the next shift at least, just to take any kind of heat out of there until conditions are right to burn it if we need to. This evening we're setting up pretty well for a burnout in this Progeny area. We've spent several days prepping the lines for that, and with the prevailing winds coming out of the north to northeast, it really is ideal conditions for a burnout where it'll just blow into itself. And so expect really good results from that sometime this evening. Continuing down the 14 road, this is continued just mop up and patrol, and that swings around over onto our line here south of Post Mountain. You can see a lot of black on this line, and this is thanks in large part to the efforts of the half battalion of Marines we've got embedded with us. They get out there and do some work, and you can see it with the steady increase in our containment. Continuing down to the Beag and Thumb, no black line on it yet, but it is lined all the way down. In fact, yesterday we got it lined all the way down into the Buck Fire. So we are essentially done building line everywhere except up in that northwest corner. We're done building line on this fire, and now we're just patrolling and mopping up. Coming a little bit further to the east, we continue to backhaul equipment. There's a lot of hose, a lot of equipment out there, so it's a couple-day process in and of itself. And then just to touch on the last thing I forgot is we are still working on this contingency line. Again, we will continue doing that until either it's done or this piece is buttoned up. And we've got about 3 shifts left to get that contingency line complete. And that's kind of it for our operational update.
Thanks for that, Britt. I wanted to ask you one question. So we know that today we're going to have red flag weather conditions over the entire fire area. And what does that exactly mean for our northeast zone of the complex?
So for us, again, with the prevailing winds for this event coming out of the east-northeast, it really just has the effect of blowing the fire back in on itself. So it's not as big a concern for us. The only area where it potentially could be is this area up in Little Bear Wallow. And again, we've got a pretty hefty fleet of heavy helicopters that are just going to be soaking that down pretty much all day today, just to make sure when those winds hit, there's no energy in there that can take it off. The other thing that happens that you can't see on this map is where that heat is kind of sheltered from that prevailing wind. So if you've got 20-mile-an-hour winds coming across the ridges, you're not going to have that force hitting where that heat is. It's going to be on the lee side of the ridge, and so not, with the amount of water and effort we're putting in there, I'm not feeling too concerned on this piece of the fire. You get on other areas of the fire in the other zones, I can't speak to that, but definitely the winds are not as favorable down there for them as they are up here.
Great. Thank you for that, Britt. And so that's going to conclude our morning video update for today on the northeastern zone of the August Complex. And if you want to find more information on the northeastern zone or the August Complex, you can head to our InstaWeb page, and we also have fire information, phone number, and email address there. That's going to conclude our morning briefing.